Welcome to 101 East. I'm Steve Chow. On the streets of Bangkok, fake medicines are being sold openly. With millions in Southeast Asia unable to afford brand-name pills, the forgeries are flooding in. This multi-billion-dollar trade has a higher profit margin than heroin trafficking and proven links to organized crime. Trevor Borman goes undercover to expose how patients' health is being put at risk and how the big drug companies are fighting back.
On the streets of Thailand's capital, Bangkok, peddlers and stall holders push the latest in counterfeit design. Most of the labels are fake, just like the sales talk.
300 for two?
I lose money, sir.
I've come here to begin my investigation into an illicit and sophisticated global industry producing forgeries. Alongside the fake designer handbags, I've found what I'm looking for.
What's
It's
these?
for sleep.
For sleep? Is
Yeah.
it like Xanax, is it?
Yes, Xanax. It's Valium. It's Valium.
But it's real, right?
Yes,
We
real.
don't want any like...
Real.
okay.
You try not to.
On my buying spree, stall holders sell me what they claim is Valium, and according to them, another anti-anxiety drug, alprazolam. Both are strictly prescription-only medications that, if abused, can be deadly. The buyers here are mainly tourists, and many have come for another drug, a pharmaceutical industry success story.
Right. Is that real Viagra?
Yes.
Don't you need a prescription for it?
With them Pharmacies.
Okay.
Viagra was developed 17 years ago to help with male erectile dysfunction. Worldwide sales are worth around $2 billion a year. From a street vendor, I've picked up some for a third of what it would cost me at a pharmacy. The next morning, I'm being visited by a man whose job it is to fight the fakes.
Hi, I'm Trevor. Hey, Trevor. Mark, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Come through. Thank you.
Mark Robinson spent 3 decades with the US Department of Homeland Security dealing with drug enforcement and intellectual fraud.
So I wanted to show you the stuff I bought in the street last night.
Now he's an enforcer for the world's biggest drug company, Pfizer.
I bought this. It says it's Valium, made under license in Pakistan, and there is a factory there that makes this. What would you say about that?
So I would say if you bought this on the street, I would not take this for any reason at all. The chances are of this being counterfeit is very high. I would not take this.
The Pfizer Corporation goes to extraordinary lengths to defend the integrity of its pharmaceuticals. And there is no one drug more zealously protected than its big seller, Viagra.
Is this the real Viagra?
Not even close. No, this is definitely counterfeit Viagra. You get a box and you take a look at it. You see the Viagra is written in a dark green. This should be a dark blue. This stripe should be a light blue. We don't have this picture on our real box. The counterfeiters don't care about what's inside the pill. All they care about making the pill look good.
The fakes that flood into Mark Robinson's patch originate mainly from India and China. They're of dubious quality, even potentially dangerous, says the man defending his company's genuine product.
When you buy a counterfeit medicine, you don't know what's in there. It may have the active pharmaceutical ingredient. It may have too much, too little, no pharmaceutical ingredient. It may contain things like heavy metals, toxic materials that can really harm the patient.
The World Health Organization calls this illegal trade a global health crisis. Beyond the lucrative so-called lifestyle drugs, there is a multinational industry in other fake pharmaceuticals. Everything from blood pressure medication to vaccines to drugs treating HIV/AIDS and cancer. And it's in the developing countries of Asia where patients are especially vulnerable. Most people here can't afford genuine brand name drugs.
ดูมันดิเห็นไหมเพราะมันเป็น generic ของแบรนด์นะ
Kanika Kitchdewichikul and her university colleagues are consumer health researchers and study how Thailand's 67 million people access their medicines. She claims the main priority of big pharmaceutical companies is profits.
They have to make their medicine more affordable. But you see, the big pharma like Pfizer, they always put the money in the large amount of money on marketing, on convincing the doctor to prescribe their drug. So if they use the money, the same amount of money, to put on R&D and to finding the new drug, they will get benefit.
This is the beach resort of Pattaya, 3 hours drive south of Bangkok. The foreigners seem older here, and thousands have taken up residency. There's something else you notice immediately about Pattaya. Pharmacies seem to be everywhere. The resort town is home to a thriving fake pill industry. And it's not street vendors who peddle the fakes here, it's the pharmacists.
Hello. Do you have any Lipitor? Okay. Celebrex?
The prescription-only drug Celebrex is an anti-inflammatory commonly used to treat arthritis.
Pill, is this genuine or fake?
These are original, no?
But this is genuine, it's not fake.
Not fake. Original.
Do I need a prescription?
No.
It's hard to tell whether it's authentic.
I'll think about it, thank you. Thank you.
What is clear is that breaking this medication up from its packaging into separate blister packs is against the law. Robinson and the rest of the Pfizer security team have travelled to Pattaya as well.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good, how are you?
They hired an undercover operative, whose identity can't be revealed, to look for counterfeit Viagra in local pharmacies.
Here, let's see what we have.
His mission has been successful. He's identified 3 pharmacies selling fake medication.
See it. This is definitely counterfeit.
Okay.
The colors and the logo they have here.
Big pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer invest tens of millions of dollars in developing new drugs
I also got gum drive for you.
and millions more in defending their profits and intellectual property. I'm about to see how serious they are
Do you have Viagra?
in protecting one of their biggest money spinners.
So this is enough evidence for us to give to the police for them to take action against this pharmacy.
Provincial police from the nearby city of Chonburi have also arrived for the bust. The Pfizer enforcement crew has done the detective work for them. They just need to arrange the sting.
I would suggest me getting out about a block before and rather than having me dropped off right in front.
We develop cases for them. We do the initial intelligence gathering and then provide them the information that they need to conduct enforcement actions. And we've been very successful.
From a discreet distance from the soon-to-be raided pharmacy, Pfizer's local investigator shares his intelligence with me.
So how do the pharmacies get this stock to start with?
Counterfeit came from India or Pakistan by hand carry in a big suitcase. They just hand carry and offer them like 100 box each time, 200 box each time.
Just before the raid, Mark Robinson makes a final covert visit to the targeted pharmacy.
Hi, I'd like to buy some Viagra. Viagra?
He needs to make sure the pharmacy hasn't been tipped off and is still selling the counterfeit pills.
Okay. That's the one.
ได้ไม่ได้เดินมาถือถุงโอเคได้แล้ว
Minutes later, the police move in. The shop assistant claims she knows nothing of the origin of the medicine she sells, and her boss, the owner, is away and not answering the phone. Police record the money used in the purchase and their haul, 2 boxes of fake Viagra.
This involved a significant amount of police resources. This is not a sledgehammer to crack a nut, is it?
Well, we're protecting the health and safety of people, so whatever it takes, that's well worth the effort.
Well, after all that, what of the pharmacist? Well, if she's found guilty, she might face a fine of 5,000 Thai baht. That's about $150 US. This really is a crime that seems to pay.
I wanted to know from the police team leader what he thought and whether he considered this operation an efficient use of police manpower. Colonel Greta Tankanarat told me police have to act on complaints from the public, whether they be someone on a street corner or one of the world's leading drug companies.
We have to work together. The companies help the police. They can identify if the medicines are genuine or not. This is the only way we can enforce the law, by having the companies identify the product first.
This has been the outsourcing of police detective work, and it grates on some in Thailand who think the big drug companies have too much influence already.
I don't think that is appropriate because it's used our fiscal budget. For policemen, actually they use the physical budget, they have to protect the Thai people, not use the physical budget to protect the private property, right?
To continue my investigation, I've travelled across Asia to the slums of the Philippines' capital, Manila, a lucrative trading ground for counterfeiters. Leonila Ocampo from the Philippines Pharmacists Association is on her rounds, warning the drug stores to beware of unscrupulous wholesalers.
Are you aware that there could be times that what will be offered to you by your supplier could be substandard or counterfeit?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Even in her official-looking coat, Leonila Ocampo tries her luck at buying antibiotics over the counter.
but can you give it to me? I forgot to bring my prescription.
If it is very necessary, ma'am, and if you needed the medicine right away, I can give you. Just,
The pharmacists in this store seem relaxed about what they sell and to whom they sell it.
So what are the dangers for a patient of her just giving anyone antibiotics without a
Well,
prescription?
it would pose a very risky problem because it could cause development of resistance.
And so people are self-medicating, they're just coming in and asking for antibiotics and just taking it.
Yes, they do, and there is no proper information.
Just around the corner, I make my own purchases from an alleyway store. No need for hidden cameras here.
Pagbilin, amoxicillin. Two. Thank you. So that was a general store that sells canned food and sweets and drinks. It also sells antibiotics. I picked myself up some amoxicillin. It's a penicillin antibiotic. I bought it for 8 pesos a capsule. That's about 20 US cents.
People are trying to find money in order to buy what they need and then getting something that does not actually work because it is substandard, it's counterfeit, it's fake, without them knowing. Is a pity.
The uncertainty of what's in that medication is playing havoc with lives. Estrella Alfaro has hardly moved from her bed in 12 years, ever since a car accident that killed her mother and made her a quadriplegic. Until late last year, she was taking a reputable brand name medicine that helped control the uncomfortable spasms in her body.
If I take that medicine, no pain. But pag no medicine, my heartbeat is very fast. So that's why I need to drink that medicine.
But the medication was expensive, so a few months ago she opted for a cheaper generic brand that by law needs to have exactly the same active ingredient. Her condition suddenly worsened and her blood pressure shot up.
It's painful here. It's 280, 220 over 180.
After only a week using the generic drug, Estrella's son Sherwin put her back on the more expensive brand name medicine, and she improved immediately.
I don't want to take that anymore.
She's the only parents we have, so we're giving her almost everything that we can.
But the brand version of it and the generic one, they should be exactly the same, shouldn't they?
Yeah, because we thought that it's the same medicine, of the same components. But we suspect now that the generic one, or the cheaper one, is of different component.
Sherwin Alfaro is lodging a complaint with the Philippines Food and Drug Administration,
Sir?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Sherwin.
which faces the daunting
Sir,
task of keeping track of the new pills that keep popping up.
This is the medicine that my mother took that made her ill, and we would like to check if this medicine is the same composition of the same medicine she's taken before.
The FDA official tells him there'll be an investigation.
We have here a drug product, pregabalin. How frequent does your mother take this medicine?
Thrice a day.
But there aren't enough pills left for a lab test.
There are certain amount that we need to comply with for the laboratory.
But the officer assures Sherwin Alfaro there'll be checks to see if the pills his mother took were genuine and of good quality.
I would ask for our inspectors to collect more adequate samples of the same lot or batch number.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
So the situation is it could be poor quality stock, it could be counterfeit, or
Yes,
it could have
sir.
been lying in the sun for a while.
That's why we will be requesting our inspectors to investigate the different drug establishments involved.
Manila is a sprawling city with a wide gulf between rich and poor. The Philippines is making billions as the call centre capital of the world. It's the epicentre of outsourcing, with its large labour pool of young, educated English speakers who excel in everything from technical support to customer service. The dark side is that these call centres are also helping make the Philippines the hub of the global trade in fake pharmaceuticals.
And they say, well, this is just as good, or this is the same, or, you know, passing off is a big thing in this business.
From his office in Manila, Australian private investigator Ken Gamble tracks the counterfeiters through cyberspace.
A lot of owners of these sites try to mask their registration.
His specialty is chasing online fraudsters and following their money trail around the world. Today, he's often hired by pharmaceutical companies.
What are the giveaways that this is selling fake drugs?
Well, first of all, the common brand names that we see here by very well-known drug companies. These companies don't sell their drugs in this manner.
Criminals making the big money from fake drugs don't sell on the streets or in pharmacies, they trade over the internet.
Yeah, and they always have photos of very healthy looking people.
There are hundreds, perhaps thousands of so-called online pharmacies. Almost all of them are illegal and peddling counterfeits. And the businesses are run mostly from call centres in the Philippines.
When somebody buys some of these drugs from the website, they believe that they're actually purchasing the drugs from a US online pharmacy or a Canadian online pharmacy.
Hello, good morning. Yes, hi, my name is Zach. How can I help you for today?
They will also process the orders and process the credit card payments and so forth, and make sure that the customer order is processed properly and that the customer actually receives their goods.
Okay, for Xanax, that will be 16 bottles. What payment would you prefer?
The call centre staff never lay eyes on the medicine. It's usually shipped directly to the customer from factories in other countries. Some of the call centre workers don't even know what they're doing is illegal.
The money trail will go from Hong Kong into various other countries where the masterminds may have bank accounts. So it's rare that the money will actually come into the Philippines. It'll usually go into an offshore merchant set up in a foreign country.
So we've run the credit card through, we've made some orders, so we're just waiting for the shipment to arrive.
Okay,
so.
and get an IP address.
Yep.
And try and track that down to an actual location.
Hopefully we get them here in Manila.
Ken and his team have identified an illegal call centre in the city. Their next challenge is to trace it to a street address and hand that information to police.
We need to prioritise this now as a number one target.
Yep. Tracking, domain information.
Once we identify those people, we build profiles on them, we establish how big their operation is, we work out the sales and distribution routes, how many associated websites there may be with their operation.
At the urging of private investigators like Ken Gamble and the multinational drug companies, Philippines police have been jolted into action. This is the situation room of the anti-cybercrime group. These officers trace online pedophiles and fraudsters. They also, with less enthusiasm it appears, track drug counterfeiters and their illegal call centres.
Well, it is not one of our high priorities actually. So we just depend a lot of times from the information given from other companies.
It was information from drug company investigators that exposed one of the biggest online pharmacy call centres here. In May 2013, a man was found dead in his hotel room in the Thai province of Trang, fake Viagra by his side. The purchase was traced to a call centre at Cebu City in the Philippines, and police moved in.
They're all in front of the computers and with microphones talking to the customers who will buy medicines from them.
So how much money do you think would have been flowing through that place?
Well, with 300 employees, there will be millions of pesos.
These are criminal gangs that are running online pharmacies. Criminals are getting smart. People involved in any sort of organised crime are always looking for an easy buck and something that is a low risk. And anything to do with the internet always has a much lower risk.
Pharmaceutical companies have identified more than 500 versions of counterfeit medicines. Some in this illegal trade try to deceive buyers by imitating the packaging. Others don't bother, but claim their pills have the same medicinal effect. Either way, they're all fakes.
We'll chase anybody and everybody that's making counterfeit medicines. We're working with law enforcement in order to identify the heads of organizations and try and take the head out so that the organization kind of falls apart over time. It's more profitable than selling heroin. You can make more money selling counterfeit drugs than selling narcotics. And the penalties are not even in the same area.
So if you're a big-time narcotics dealer, what's going to happen if you get caught in Thailand?
Probably death sentence.
And what about dealing fake drugs?
Probably a hefty fine. If you're a manufacturer, it'll be a hefty fine and maybe some jail time.
The proliferation of counterfeit drugs is undermining our confidence in the medicines we take. It promotes suspicion, anxiety and distrust towards health authorities and the pharmaceutical companies. Counterfeits with little or no active ingredient can increase disease resistance and deceive dangerously ill people into thinking they'll get better. Aided by the internet, this is a crime of the 21st century, and the world's poorest, most vulnerable citizens are paying the price.